Whew, there is a holy tenderness in the house this morning. I'm deeply feeling it with all of you, and hope that you are feeling that gentle and tender approach to yourself that we are calling in this morning. It really struck me this week with so many others in my life, with prayers we're doing together. There is so much tenderness that we need. There is so much going on in this world and our lives, and I suppose always have been. It looks like this is a special or particularly challenging time to some, but it may not be. It may just be the iteration of life that is somehow always this way. And so I know I've touched in with some of you this week in some of these tender places, and I continue to invite you to prayer to bring these tender places together. Our prayer meetings are sometimes full and sometimes very quiet. And they're always arranged by Spirit. They're always arranged by this universe of love who is inviting just the perfect people in to care for each other in a warmth and a tenderness that I invite you to definitely bring to yourself. And so this morning, I really wanted to talk to you about this gaining awareness, not new awareness, but just keeps gaining within me. I keep feeling the more and more importance of when things happen, who we are, and how we continue to be when something goes wrong or happens, quote unquote, and how we find ourselves in these places and who we can be as they unfold. In my life this week, I managed to really upset a friend of mine. And also, actually, a couple of weeks ago, I managed to do that also. And somehow in this time of change and moving and lots of things going on, I don't always remember to say everything to everyone or tell everyone everything. And I don't know if any of you have had this experience of having a friend find out something about you on Facebook that they don't know, or something that they think should have come to them tenderly and sweetly and as part of your friendship that is now public. And somehow that feels wrong and painful and hard to be with. So in the disappointment, where do we live? Where do we live? The disappointment inside ourselves, the disappointment inside another, the way that anger and pain can flare together and really take us out. And I just love how these services build on themselves, how Ginger is feeling Ginger and shares her ideas about music, and I'm feeling my life, and we're all feeling each other in prayer each day. And the service comes together with this forgiveness chant right before us speaking to one another this morning. And then also the beauty of this, have I told you lately that I love you? So what I've noticed more and more, and I want to say was really deeply, deeply shown to me by someone in the last couple of weeks, is the place we go when we have some hurt, when we have some feelings of either our own or another's inadequacy, some kind of judgment, which we know breaks us out of the heart of God, breaks us out of the unified field, because we start pretending that there's more than one of us here. We forget that everything that's happening is happening to us and through us and it looks like as another, but always to ourselves. How is it that we're not honoring? How is it that we're not loving ourselves as deeply as we could? And in this awareness of consciousness that we are always blending with our humanness, the way that we source ourselves from consciousness, sometimes we're really aware that we forget. We forget that we are not our reactivity, that we are not our hurt, and we are not our pain. But we must also know that is very much an aspect of what we do as humans is be with. Be with is a way to love. And so if we think about this as we walk through this life with ourselves, we wonder, how will I be with this? And one time when I had taken on a process of being with myself, with some of the things in my life that maybe I had felt I had let go of or not done quite as well as I would have liked, or not quite have hit the mark, or could have created an error in past language. I could have sinned one way or another against something. When I ask myself this question, the question that always comes up is, can I bring more love to this? Can I bring more love to this? And what I realized was that in much the same way that I used to kiss the boo-boos on my son's knee, I needed to learn to kiss the boo-boos in my own heart. We need to learn that we are the receptivity of our own loving, that the aspects of us that are human, that are hurting and in pain, do not need to be ignored or flowed over or pushed away or shoved out the door or closed into the dark closet, right? But what we need so deeply is our own sweet attention. So how do we do this? What do we do? Because in fact, if we don't give ourselves our own sweet attention, we will give ourselves less than we deserve. When I first started this, I actually did a practice called the presence process. And the words of the present process in this bringing ourselves to ourselves are, I am here now with this. And so wherever you feel anything in your life, in your body, in your heart that feels out of alignment with truth and loving, out of alignment with a sense of power and strength that you are, whatever part of you is coming to the surface that needs some attention, whether it sounds like jealousy, envy, lack, scarcity, pain, fury, anger, rage, self-criticism, the criticism of others, whatever the voice that is speaking, when we come to that voice, we want to make sure that we don't bring another voice of a part of ourselves that's not whole to that conversation. When we say, I am here now with this, we bring the highest I am with ourselves, the deepest loving, that which we bestow on our friends, that which we bestow on our loved ones, our children, our partners, our family, our animals, the natural world, wherever we feel our heart engaged, we feel this blossoming of love that pours forth is the I am. It is the sourced one within us. It is our highest essential self. It is the one we are. And will we bring this one to ourselves and not starve ourselves for our own loving, our own godly loving? Not our own small, parsed out gifts of loving, but our own deep loving. And so when confronted with disappointing another or being the disappointment, do we let ourselves take that deep breath? Allow yourself right now to call something into your experience that's active and alive, that feels a bit like you have allowed it to, that voice, to either you've pushed it away or you've locked it away or you've let it take over because you've tried to push it away. We've either bypassed it above or below. We've either landed in the thick of it or we've gone to the heavens and sing the praises of the Almighty while we abandon ourselves right here at home. Are we willing to come home to ourselves? Are we willing to embrace ourselves? Are we willing to circle ourselves in the same loving? And when I mentioned this week to someone how I remember kissing my son's boo-boos and saying, all we need is to apply some love here and everything is healed, someone in this congregation and in one of our prayer conversations said to me, I teach my children to give it to themselves. What an incredible gift. Can we teach our children to give that love to themselves? Can we teach our inner children, the ones who scream and cry and rant and rave, the ones who go silent in an angry, distant way, the ones who separate us from the glory and the love and the peace and the strength and the beauty and the talent of incredible expression that we are? Do we take those and give those our presence? I am. Find one, even if it's tiny in you, the one that forgot to send the birthday card, the one who didn't show up, the one who forgot to tell a friend something, the one who didn't take exquisite care of something, the one who dropped the ball, the one who made the mistake, the one who's embarrassed or shy or hurting. Can we give them back their wholeness by coming to them within ourselves, by reaching our prayer? And this is why I call us a community of prayer, because our prayer is remembering. It is our meditative remembering that we are not the wounds, and we are not the broken, and we are not the harshness, and we are not that which we hold against or judge in ourselves or each other. It makes no difference. We are one. What are we unforgiving? What are we holding against? Think of those words and see if there's any resonance within your own experience. And there we find the heaviness that sits on the heart. And as the lotus tries to blossom in the chakra of the heart, it is laden down with the heaviness of these judgments that drop us down into the roots of the lotus, back into the muck. But we call ourselves forward in the light and the love of each day. And we remember that there is only one power. There is no darkness that light doesn't completely eradicate. And so as we call ourselves out of the muck, as we travel up through the dark waters, as we enter the light, as we begin to feel the bud of the blossom of the lotus begin to want to press, in the words of Anais Nin, when the pain, I am definitely paraphrasing this, of staying a bud becomes too great, we will begin to release the things that we are holding against life, against ourselves, against one another, ultimately only against the oneness that we are. Are we willing to bring our love there as we speak the words in a prayer of the holiness of the one infinite, loving intelligence and creativity? Are we willing then to turn our face to the sun, and to allow ourselves to open to this beautiful source that becomes the presence of who we are in the presence of our source? Are we willing to let that love flow in and through and as us in the holy holiness of this moment, and imbue every painful spot in our body, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, with the kindness of love? I am this oneness of this field, out behind thoughts of wrongdoing and right doing. There is a field. I will meet you there. I am present to my own pain. my own shame, my own disappointments, my own rage, my own anger, my greed, my envy, my lust. But will we give finally to that which is calling so desperately forth from ourselves, that which we circumvent in every day of our lives when we run out in the world to prove we're worthy before we stay at home and bless ourselves with our full knowing of our holy worthiness that elevates everything we do into the realization of the only truth there is, the one field in which all things dissolve, all of our pain dissolves once we give it time to be heard, to be listened to. That is what love is, to walk hand in hand and to sometimes carry each other, but then to put ourselves back down on the ground, on this earth, feet rooting into this glorious, beautiful land, raising up from the earth the nurturing that we need, drawing down from the heavens the light, and watching the interplay of the threads of DNA linking through our bodies, healing, flowing, gracefully touching everything that needs to be healed. Route them out in love. I am whatever it is here now. I am so present. I am so here now with this. Whatever this misbelief, misconception, misunderstanding, ancestral lineage, heredity, mutation, or simply that which we have taken on to live through as a soul. When that lifts, when we become one within, we become the most joyous blessing. If there is anything that we are trying to do on this earth, let us start within in the greatest love of ourselves. And let us then decide. I shall now go and love the world the same way. No thing can hurt, harm, or endanger me in any way. I am whole, I am one, I am stable, I am strong, I am powerful, I am light, I am peace, I am courage. I am the breath of all things, and all things are my breath. I answer the call within me to bring love to me always, as we are reminded as Jesus speaks in the Christ consciousness. Love God with all your heart and all your soul and all your mind. And the only other commandment that is truly necessary is to love each other as we love ourselves. That means while we love ourselves, the same way we love ourselves, through the love we have for ourselves. And so I invite you to, right this moment, whatever that little thing is, or sometimes more than one little thing shows up, place your hand on your heart. Bring that loving into the place in your body that you feel the resonance with whatever it is that has anything attached that is not this glorious love. And right now, to yourself, and since we're muted, you say it out loud. I am this presence. I am breath here now with this. And in this great love, we allow all to be met, heard, listened to, vetted, loved, and then taken back to life if there is anything that still needs to be addressed on the outside. We are full, we are blessed, we are overflowing with love. All the words, all the actions come to us in guidance from this place, in the deepest gratitude. Today we speak this word as a community, as CCL, as this loving center of consciousness. Center. We are a center as one of consciousness. And we bring this same loving to anything in our community that's hurting. Anything in our community that's hurting, let us bring this presence of love. Anything in ourselves that's hurting, anything in this life that's hurting. Now we express ourselves as this full. And for any of you who feel the full and overflowing, we are welcome to take that and as the Course in Miracles calls it, open and extend that loving into the world. From your overflow, you have become the loving, and you now presence the loving for the world. And now we feel and know the affirmation that we said together this morning. The blessing. I am the blessing of love in my life. I flow in the grace and the joy of universal love. My whole, stable, and loving center is strong in the face of changing circumstances. Centered in my oneness, I know I am free. And so I know this for one of us as I know it for all of us as we are one. In this next breath, we breathe together the full knowing of all of this truth. We are so very, very grateful, knowing the truth for each and every being, cell, mitochondria, quark, particle, and wavelength of this entire beautiful universe. In all its multiplicity, we are one. And we are grateful for the remembering and for the being those who know to remember. We extend our love forward in grace to all the parts of the world that are hurting. All the parts of anything that we hear the call to love. And now we release this prayer once again, knowing that it is already done, that this is already the reality of the truth of what is. And we allow ourselves the full realization of abundance, joy, passion, pleasure, prosperity, possibility, excellence, tenderness, love, kindness, care, and compassion, and all the other attributes of God that we simply cannot take the time to mention, but you hold within you as yourself. And we say together, and so it is.